The Auggie Doll. For a while, the war was all we talked about. February was when it was really at its worst. That's when practically nobody was talking to us, and Julian started leaving notes in our lockers. The notes to Jack were like, "You stink, big cheese, and no one likes you." The notes I got were "freak," and another one that said, "get out of our school," etc. Summer thought that we should report the notes to Miss Rubin, who was the middle school dean, or even Mr. Tushman, but we thought that would be like snitching. Anyway, it's not like we didn't leave notes too. Ours just weren't really mean. They were kind of funny and sarcastic. One was, "You're so pretty, Julian. I love you. Will you marry me? Love, Balua." Another was, "Love your hair. XOXO Balua." Another was, "You're a babe. Tickle my feet." Balua was a made-up person that me and Jack came up with. She had really gross habits, like eating green stuff between her toes and sucking on her knuckles. We figured someone like that would have a real crush on Julian, who looked and acted like a kid in a Kids Bop commercial. There was also a couple times in February when Julian, Miles, and Henry played tricks on Jack. They didn't play tricks on me, I think, because they knew that they'd get caught for bullying if they did. Jack, they figured, was an easier target. So one time they stole his gym shorts and played monkey in the middle with them in the locker room. Another time Miles, who sat next to Jack in homeroom, swiped Jack's worksheet off his desk, crumpled it into a ball, and tossed it to Julian across the room. This wouldn't have happened if Miss Batosa had been there, of course, but it was a substitute teacher that day, and subs really never know what's going on. Jack was good about this stuff. He never let them see he was upset, though I think he sometimes was. The other kids in the grade knew about the war, except for Savannah's group. The girls were pretty neutral at first, but by March they were getting sick of it. So were some of the boys. Like another time when Julian was dumping some pencil sharpener shavings into Jack's backpack, Amos, who was usually really tight with them, grabbed the backpack out of Julia's hands and returned it to Jack. It was starting to feel like the majority of the boys weren't buying into Julian anymore. Then, a few weeks ago, Julian started spreading this ridiculous rumor that Jack had hired a hitman to get him and Miles and Henry. This lie was so pathetic that people were actually laughing about him behind his back. At that point, any boys who had still been on his side now jumped ship and were clearly neutral. So by the end of March, only Miles and Henry were on Julian's side, and I think even they were getting sick of the war by then. I'm also pretty sure everyone else stopped playing the plague game behind my back too. No one really cringes if I bump into them anymore, and people borrow my pencils without acting like the pencil has cooties. People even joke with me sometimes now. Like the other day I saw Maya writing a note to Elliot on a piece of Ugly Doll stationery. I don't know why, but I just kind of randomly said, "Did you know the guy who created Ugly Dolls based them on me?" Maya looked at me with her eyes wide open, and then she totally believed me. Then when she realized I was only kidding, she thought it was the funniest thing in the world. "You're so funny, August," she said. And then she told Elle and some of the other girls what I had just said, and they all thought it was funny too. Like at first they were shocked, but then they saw I was laughing about it. They knew it was okay to laugh about it too. The next day I found a little Ugly Doll keychain sitting on my chair with a nice little note from Maya that said, "We're the nicest Auggie doll in the world. XOXO Maya." 6 months ago, stuff like that would have never happened, but now it happens more and more. Also, people have been really nice about the hearing aids I started wearing.